Good. Hello, everyone, and most welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I've got to say, it was hard getting up. But here I am. I thought I will text Berta and say, oh, maybe not today. But, I just can't help myself. I love you guys, and here I am.
Thank you, Magda. Ooh.
Ooh, yes. I want to share my screen.
Okay, that's better.
There is in Toastmasters a series called the Better Speaker Series, and out of it you will get different things. And this is the one on concluding your speech. Once again, I want to say that how you conclude your speech is not a separate issue. It's coming out of your speech. Just like the beginning is coming out of your speech, it's not something separate. It is something that will sort of grow organically. But let's start first with what not to do, okay? In your conclusion, never make excuses. Say, ooh, this was a difficult project. And then never to refer to your title, quote, etc. in the body of the speech. That's not very clear. If you've in your conclusion, if you've got a quote, now if you start off with a quote, you've got to refer to your quote or your title through the body of your speech and repeat it again at the end of your speech. And then avoid delaying mentioning of the topic. These are the things that you are not supposed to do. Okay? I will reword this slide a little bit. I can see it's a bit problematic. I don't like words on slides. So once again, your conclusion will be organic. It will be from your speech. Why is it important to have a good conclusion? Well, often the last idea is the thing that people remember. And it's also a great idea to conclude on a positive note. If I'm telling you about a funeral and I leave it at the funeral, you're all going to feel like this, downtrodden and depressed. Therefore, your conclusion, you've got to be a little bit upbeat. You've got to portray some light at the end of the tunnel, some positive.
How can you conclude positively during a funeral? That's a challenge.
Well, maybe not speak about the funeral unless there are life lessons to be learned from the funeral.
Okay.
End up with the life lessons instead of the funeral. Okay.
Yeah, I try to make a joke.
Okay. Conclude positively and forcefully, except there's always an exception to the rule. If your speech is something that's coming from your heart and you find it really upsetting, then it's going to be really difficult for you to say, okay, this is my life lesson that I've learned. Remember that speech that I've done on the relationship between me and my sister before she died, Berta?
Yes,
it was impossible to do a light-hearted conclusion. But
no
I did have a positive conclusion. So for that reason, positively and forcefully, but remember the circumstances, what's going on behind it. How do you make your conclusion important or stick with people? It's simple. You use words and ideas. And then Bruce Lee, I can't say that I'm really that big a favor, but he did say something that I loved. A successful warrior is the average man with a laser-like focus. And you'll see when I was critiquing your speeches that unnecessary things, take it out because it's diluting your speech. Laser-like focus. So in your conclusion, you really give people those points that you want them to take away from your speech. The simplest conclusion is to say, the simplest opening is to say, I'm going to tell you this 1.1 point 1, 2, and 3. The simplest conclusion is, I've told you 1, 2, and 3. But that's leaving nothing to the imagination. And my big problem with that type of conclusion, and it's often in Toastmasters, you did not touch the audience at all. So for that reason, I'm not a fan. But sometimes I'm naughty. When I know I'm going to get a certain evaluator, I'm very tempted to give point 1, 2, and 3 in the beginning and give point 1, 2, and 3 at the end, because I know that is how he is evaluating. But then I say to myself, well, I'm not doing this for the evaluator, I'm doing it for myself. So I just take his comments with a little pinch of salt. Good. I've got 11 suggestions for outstanding closings. And once again, it's got to come from your speech. These are just things to sort of shake you a little bit and rattle the brain a little bit and see what you can come up with. Okay? I want you to talk with me, you know, and to give your ideas. So open up your mics, please. Yesham and Bershu. And the one that shouts first is the one that speaks first. David? Okay. So there are many words. Unfortunately, the slide is not very clear. Many words to say, okay, this is my conclusion or my summary. So in conclusion, in summary, to summarize, to conclude, all things considered, ultimately, in short, to sum up, in essence. And of course, my favorite is when you do something that's very visual. You can say, now I'm going to wrap up. So this is just an idea of words that you can use to say, okay, I'm now at that point in time when you can wake up because I'm almost done. I say the moment that you use these words, people are sitting up and they're listening very eagerly. A circular close is one that I think it's really simple, and it's complying with the rules of public speaking and the rules of writing. As if you start with an idea, or your title, you'll use it throughout your different points, and in your conclusion, you're coming back to that title or your concept or your idea. Say my idea is that I want to tell you that what can I say now? Capitalism suck. Then I would have it throughout my speech, and I will come back and say, this is my idea, capitalism suck. And because in my summary, I also would say these are the reasons. You can use something else, but it's just now off the top of my head. It's maybe not the best example, but the circular close is giving your audience the feeling, aha, the speech is one complete unit. They can sit back and relax. They don't have any more questions to ask. Any ideas? You can open up your mic, Sharon. You can talk with us.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Any ideas? Circular close, Bertrand, your first speech, your icebreaker.
Yes. I like this one. I particularly like it when it just refers to a human story, and
Yes.
then you develop the body, and then
Yes.
you remember this first character that you introduced in the first minute of your speech. In the end, saying that this young man, you remember, he was insecure and he was struggling and suffering. Look what happened in the end. So in a way, you are circularly going back to the initial story or initial idea, and then close it with that. I think this is powerful. I like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it a lot myself. I use it a lot. Title close. Remember the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
Did you see the movie?
Yes.
Very interesting title. So if you've got a title like this, stop your speech with the title. So you give your in summary now and you talk then. And then before you go off, you organize with the Toastmaster of the day that you're not going to stop and shake hands. You're going to give the Toastmaster a wave, and then you're going to run away and you're going to shout to the Toastmaster, "Catch me if you can."
That's a nice one.
So if you can find a title, that's got some action in it, you can work with that action. Some of my ideas might seem extreme, but believe me, I've tried them all. Quotation close.
Wait a minute, Magda. I didn't get the title close at all. I didn't understand anything about that at all.
Okay. If you've got a catchy title with some action in it, okay.
Yes.
In your conclusion, use that title as your last sentence. And then you do the action. So you say to the Toastmaster of the day, you organize beforehand, you say to the Toastmaster and maybe to your general evaluator, I want to have a different closing today. And I want it to stand out, and therefore I'm not going to follow the procedure, so that they don't criticize you afterwards. They know what's coming. In this case, I would say, Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to wait and shake hands, because I want to do an action to emphasize my speech. So my last sentence would be, "Catch me if you can," and I would run away.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I didn't like the idea, I think. Maybe I just didn't like the close. That's okay. I don't see how I could use that.
Okay, it's okay. I mean, these are ideas. Just ideas, David.
Okay.
Nothing that I give you is set in concrete that you have to do it.
Yeah, but I get the idea now. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it could be something else. A quotation close. If your quotation is a little bit funny, for a close, that would help. But this is the problem around a quotation close. If the quotation is something that's loaded in meaning and you don't have time to explain it because it is in your conclusion, you could be stuck in the sense that people don't really understand why you're giving this quote. If you end with a quotation, make sure it's absolutely applicable to your speech and it's very clear cut. I think in all the time in Toastmasters use the quotation once in a close. Because of this whole thing, you give the quotation, and if it's not incorporated absolutely into your speech, you're stuck. Because then people, when you go on a break, people ask you, but what is the real meaning of that quotation? And then you know that you've lost your audience.
Yeah.
Good. An invitation close. Come and join me at Toastmasters. Come and join me at Ablaze. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's an invitation to do something. A challenging close, and we get these all the time in business. Buy from us now, or do something now. Call us today. Some action required, whatever the action is, or exchange of money. If you pay today, you'll get 10% off. It's not something that we will use in Toastmasters. If you pay today, you pay half the price. But just remember, there are these closes. So I'm going to leave you to read it for yourself because it's a bit complicated. speech that I can think of that would comply with this is the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King, where he said, every time I've got a dream, I've got a dream, I've got a dream. It's like a cadence and a rhythm. I have not done this yet because I couldn't find anything that is giving me, that's from me, a natural that I can do this. But if you're a poet at heart and you feel like it will work for you, by all means, the repetitive close is something you can think about.
I'm sorry, but I don't understand this one either, Magda. I mean, I'm supposed to close with a poem?
Some words that are so repetitive that it's sounding like music. If I read this, you will see how repetitive it is. And so what
yes,
I've been saying is life is an adventure, dare it, a duty, perform it, an opportunity, take it, a journey, complete it, a promise, fulfill it, a puzzle, solve it, a goal, achieve it. It's just one of the 11 options, David.
Maybe it doesn't need to be a poem, like it could just be a restatement in
it can be your own words.
Some theme or...
Yeah. It can be your own words. Like Martin Luther King is saying in his speech, I have a dream. You can close like this and saying, I have a dream, what can we say?
Okay.
I have an opportunity, and therefore I dare to take it. An opportunity that I would like to perform. No, it's not working out because every time it's ending with it. But you'll know when you have something repetitive. This is a difficult one, like I've said, and all the time in Toastmasters, I've never used this one because for me, it's a bit complicated. But just know it's there. If you feel like, you're in a mood to do some poetry or do some rhyme or whatever, work it into your conclusion. But once again, your whole speech has got to be about this. You can't have a conclusion that's not organically from your speech. And for that reason, it never happened to me that I felt, okay, this is the ideal close that I want to use. But I added in here because for the sake of completion, of having it there to show you it's another thing that you can do.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. A suggestive close, you're not saying in conclusion, you're saying, before I take questions, let me conclude with this point. So, the questions are coming, but she's wrapping up. She's finalizing her speech. But after that is question and answers.
So in Toastmasters, would we say, dear Toastmaster, before I shake your hand, let me conclude with this point?
Yes. You can also say, Mr. Toaster, Mr. or Madam Toastmaster, before you introduce the next speaker, I want to conclude with the following points. I want to wrap up. Anything like that. But of course, in the later projects in Toastmasters, there are quite a bit of question and answer sessions. And that would be ideal for that. Good. We talk about the demonstration close. You can take a book and you can close the book and say, okay, this concludes this chapter in my life. Or you can take your cap off and say, it's time for me to head out and find the road to success. I find this a bit American, but who am I to say? Anyone can use it. It's just examples. Well, this for me is a really formal way of doing things. I salute you and everyone in the organization. It's sounding a little bit, how shall I put it? a bit over the top for me. I would use this as a joke. Yeah.
It's like governmental.
And
Yes. But maybe sometime, you know, when you want to say your exec has done a really great job, I salute you because you've done a great job. You don't have to use all those formal words. So there is a place for it. May the force be with you always. You can use it as is, or you can give it a twist and say, may the transformational force be with you. It will put a smile on people's faces because they would know where it's coming from. But once again, it must be part of your speech, because if it's just a thing that you slap on at the end, it's never going to work. A sharp evaluator will say to you, and just how did that fit in with your speech? Now, this one is very interesting. I've used it when I've done some training in the past. When there's a point that I want them to repeat, I would say to them, this is the sentence. And when I do this, you repeat the sentence. And sometimes I will have two sentences. And just to keep the audience awake, I would say the left side is using this sentence and the right side is using that sentence. It's just to build a little bit of fun into presentation.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. And you will use it sparingly, very, very sparingly. And especially in a close, you'll only use it in a close when you've used it in the body. And then...
So you have to...
Yeah, David?
You have to coax something out of your audience for this one?
It's something out of your speech. Say, for instance, I want to say... Table topics.
Oh, yeah. I've used this one once, actually. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
Great.
You have to have the audience repeat something that you mentioned during your speech, but you leave it up to them to say it.
Yes.
Okay.
But you need to indicate. So I would do with my hand. You know, when I do this, you all say, table topics are fun. You know, so, and then in the end of my speech, I will end with that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, can we add one more?
Yep.
Close with a joke.
Close with a joke.
Yes. I did it once and it worked perfectly. I'm still proud of it. And I want to tell that to you. I don't know. I sent the link to you. Maybe you didn't watch the speech, Magda. It was my 6th speech. Very shortly, I told about an imaginary machine that makes a translation between cat meows to human, so that you can buy it and you can talk to your cat. And I talk about it. I show a business plan, and I made a conversation even with Rasik about how much it would cost. This, everything. And in the last 30 seconds of my speech, I said, I have a next project. Normally it takes 100 years. But with my experience with cat to human translation, so I can make it, if I start today, I can make it in 30 years. And that's man to woman, woman to man translator.
That is clever.
That I like very much. Still, I said I'm proud of it. So it was a great ending. So people really loved that.
Yeah.
You could put it on Kickstarter early.
It is something we can all associate, and we can all see the humor in that.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it worked really well.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you ever been or listening to a speech, especially American speeches, where they always talk about baseball?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or any sports.
Yeah, the rest of the world couldn't care less about baseball or football or whatever. But there you go.
Any sport, really, but
yeah. Okay, instead of saying back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, you can say you end and you take a deep breath and you can say to introduce our next speaker, please welcome the Toastmaster. And then everyone knows that you're absolutely, completely and fully at the end of it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all. This is far more than what is in this manual. The manuals, the old manuals in Toastmasters are really pathetic, but don't say anyone.
Why don't they, Magda, you should have a punchline close also, I think. For example, if you make a entertainment, if you make an entertainment.
This is my punchline close. You missed it. The old manuals are really boring. That's my close. The old manuals like this are really boring.
That is your punchline.
That's my punchline. There's much more in this speech, much more in this presentation than you ever get in that manual.
Okay, I got it. But I think the punchline close work. The punchline close. It's very good if you do an entertaining speech or a humorous speech. And but you have to have people laughing before, and then you have people laughing the most at the end if you do it good.
Yes, it's especially handy when you're doing a humorous speech.
It works very well with that.
Oh, come on. My computer is not working with me, but
that happens time to time. Yes, you're in the right place. 12. Yes, that could work. Time to time.
Well, this could be a joke, or it could be a punchline.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a pun could work really great. Do you know what is a pun?
Pun. What's a pun? Is it a gesture?
A pun is something. Let me now get the right definition here, because I can get into trouble now. A pun is
a joke.
When something is so in front of you, you can't miss it. You know, you get puns on and you know these stickers that they put on cars. A pun.
A joke. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar sounding words, I guess. Like something has more than one meaning, and then you make a joke.
Words.
Let me just enlarge this. I wonder why my computer is so slow today.
Like let's say, monotony and monogamy.
Yep. I remember now about a bumper sticker in South Africa: born free and taxed to death. That is a pun.
And I like this one. The Railway Society reception was an informal party of people of all stations.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't know why people say excuse the pun, because you mean to have that.
Yes, you are doing it on purpose. Yeah, you shouldn't be excusing. No, this is nice. I will start writing puns on the site. I may use it sometime. It's nice.
We
have a lot in Turkish. Turkish is a very elastic language, isn't it, David? We have words with several meanings, and you can make a lot of jokes around it. Very, very rich about it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Maybe we can add to that.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, that is it for now. Any questions regarding closing of your speech?
What I experience is that I am focused on the introduction and the body mostly. Try to remember it, or mostly nervous around it. And when I'm really in the end, and if the timeline is good enough, then my ending is not powerful usually most of the time. So if you are not showing anything, you can stop sharing, Magda, so it will be bigger screen.
Okay, I would share something else.
Yeah,
now
okay, yeah, go ahead. But I mean, I for me, I don't see powerful enough the endings. A couple of them worked really well, but
yeah,
it's like my energy drains until I'm in the end of the speech,
Yeah, and for that reason, I think because you know that your energy is draining, I think it could be, hi, Farai, I didn't see you. I think it's a good idea to, when you've got your end, to do some kind of action, something just to get the adrenaline going a little bit. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else. I'm still glad you're here, Yeshim. Let me go there. Very so often people say, okay, use the platform, walk and so on. I want to show you that actually for our brains, if people just walk about without any reason, it's really a problem. I find it with a lady who won our competition speech over here. She was then here and then there and then, and I just felt within 2 minutes, just stop.
Yeah, I
can't
year.
Take it anymore.
This year's winner, yes.
Yeah. But in any case, this is what's going on in our brains. As you can see, left brain, right brain. The areas in your brain that are allocated to different body parts. Your tongue, your teeth, your face. So therefore, facial expressions are so important. The hands, you can see the arms a little bit, the body, the knee, and then the genitals, but we're not going there. So it's left brain, right brain. The one has got to do more with motor cortex, and the other one is more somasensory cortex. They say in your brain you've got mirror neurons. So if Berger is drinking water now, my brain is going, oh, maybe I can drink a little bit of water. I sort of, where's my coffee? I need to drink something. Your brain, in a way, is geared to pick up what the other person is doing. And therefore, in Toastmasters, your hands and your face is really, really important. Your arms, not so much, but there is some space for the space taken up by the arms. But they call this the homunculus man. Let me go to my other slide. So if this is the same thing, but you can see, the lips, the tongue, the lips, the nose, the eyes, all the things that's got to do with your senses. There's a lot of space in your brain that are registering this. So if you do a speech and you use these, if I would stick out my tongue, you're going to think it's very out of place and you're going to remember it. Because it's taking up, to register in your brain, it's taking up a lot of space. But look at the hands. Now you see why hands are so important. And the rest of the body and the feet, not so much. But look here. This is if you look at how the brain is working and what the brain is registering most. Look at those hands. Look at the face. And then, of course, it's all the senses. It's your nose, your eyes, your ears. So if you want to do a good speech and you want to concentrate on things, don't worry so much about the walking about. It's not the most important thing. And if you get comments like, I often get it, but in Toastmasters online, you sit on your bum. So what? I have to express everything I feel with my torso, my face, and my hands. Those are the memorable things. Not if I'm walking from here to there. So I thought this could be very helpful if you think about your body language, what you're going to do. Any questions?
Then the ending.
So the hands are very...
Yeah, hands. I was asking the same. Hands, yeah.
Okay, yeah. What does that mean? Why are they so big, Magda?
It is in relation to the brain, David. It's telling you how much space in your brain is taken up by using your hands. And for us to look at you, our brains will register the use of your hands quite easily because we've got such a big part of our brain that's dedicated just to hands. So hand gestures are really, really important. They say the best speakers in TED using their hands more than 400% more than the speakers that are not so popular. So that is the thing for you, David. Okay? Your facial expression.
That conclusion tells us that it's better to have more hand movement than less. Yes?
You were breaking up a little bit.
It tells us that when I tell you something, it's better to use my hands. If I have more motion with my hands, it's a plus rather than a minus.
Yes, it is, but your hands, your face, facial expressions, hands, really, really important, more than your feet. That is my message to you. So my message, instead of walking like a tiger in a cage from this side to that side, calm down on the walking. Walk only if you want to emphasize a point and then you walk. I would walk in a meeting to Berju and I would tell her, look her in the eye and tell her something. And then if it's something more or something else that I want to emphasize, I will walk to Yesham, look her in the eye and tell her something. Then you can use the walking, but there's this thing going on in Toastmasters that's getting celebrated. That is totally, totally devoid from any science. And that is people walking like crazy on the stage. So I just wanted, I will share this with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to make an impact, Buju,